Hi, I'm Ben Earl, and this is the podcast where I get to know country stars through the places that have made them who they are. Because I think, in a way, that we are everywhere we've ever been. The places we go, they lead to the people we know, and that all comes out in our music. So if you love country music, if you're curious about the world, and if you want to hear the best storytellers telling their stories in their own words, stick around. You're definitely going to want to hear this. This is Country Roads. I'm so excited. We're kicking off Series 2 of Country Roads with an amazing artist, someone whose album I have been loving, the new album, and the first one. Zack, welcome to Country Roads.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to sit down with you.
I've said you're the first artist to actually have a beer, which is...
Somehow, I have a bad habit of that. I end up having a beer in a lot of first places, but I don't know. I guess it's my thing now.
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So is it your first time in London?
Yeah, first time working over here, so excited to be doing that.
You got a chance to do anything fun while you're here, or anything you wanted to do?
We went. Yeah, I don't know. We went just, what do you call it? A pub crawl? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's completely it.
Yeah, perfect. That's what we did last night.
Wow.
So that was
how many
fun.
pubs did you go through?
4, I think. Okay. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
it was pretty. Yeah, I was in bed a little after midnight, so
it's respectable.
Yeah, exactly. It's Sunday night. Got to get up and work a little bit today, so it was. We didn't go too crazy, but yeah, that was about it. I'm horrible at. We get to go so many cool places. This being one of them, and I'm terrible about planning ahead and trying to pick out some things that I know I definitely want to go check out. So I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants once I get here. And my favorite thing most places is just doing just that, wandering around, finding where the locals hang out and, just talking to some people that live here and, I don't know, getting an idea of what people are about over here.
I think that's the thing. You can do all the tourist stuff that you should do, but sitting in those pubs last night, I'm sure did people come up to you because you had your hat on, did you?
No, I try to go a little more incognito a lot of the time. I didn't go out in the show clothes last night. But yeah, met a bunch of some hilarious old dude named Matt. Shout out Matt. We talked to him for 2 hours. He's just, what do they call it? You get pissed?
Yeah.
Is that drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was... He was rocking last night. He was hilarious. Had a great time talking to him. And
any
awesome.
stories that he gave you or advice? I'm sure that.
I can't remember a lot of advice. He was telling us how angry his wife was going to be. We tried to get him to go to the next pub with us, and he was like, "No, I got to go home." And we were like, "Oh, come on, man! It's only 11:30," and he's like, "My wife's gonna kill me." It's like, all right, go ahead then.
Imagine him going back to his wife saying, "I met this guy from America,
this hillbilly from
huge
Tennessee,
country star." Yeah. She's like, "You've been out again, getting pissed, making up these stories," and then then they Google you, and they're like, "Wow, that is amazing,
hilarious."
So obviously you're touring around the States. It's been crazy. You've done so much. Are there any other countries you haven't been to around the world that you are desperate to play?
Man, I've always been fascinated. Our first thing we did outside of the U.S., we've been to Canada a little bit, and Mexico, Cancun. So, kind of Mexico. That is Mexico, but it was just at a resort. So, we didn't get into some legit Mexican city or anything. But anyway, we went over to Australia spring of last year, March of last year, which was kind of our first legit overseas touring, and I was kind of apprehensive about it. It's an undertaking. It costs a lot more. Got to go play smaller rooms and what you're playing. It's a bit of a commitment, I guess, that you got to go ahead and yes, I do want to be an international thing. And so I was kind of apprehensive about it. Once we did the shows in Australia, that kind of was just it for me. I was like, all right, anywhere there's someone that wants to see a show, I want to go take a show there. So
cool.
Excited to, first time going through here, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. One that I think would be kind of wild is Japan. Yeah. They've had a long history of, even back in the 80s and stuff. There's, who J.D. Crowe is?
I don't know.
Old, big time bluegrass guy. And then, who Keith Whitley is? Yeah. That he was lead singer for J.D. Crowe's bluegrass band before he got his country deal and, got famous. But they have a live album in Japan. Oh, wow. That's just, it sounds crazy on that thing. Wild sounding recording. Just, it sounds like they're eating it up. And bluegrass is a huge thing over there. And country as well. And especially, my background coming from bluegrass, I think they'd appreciate what we do. So it seems like a wild thing, so far from, what like American country culture would be. Somehow they're fascinated with the music.
I think they'd love you. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've got this funny feeling they just would really like you out there.
I hope so. Yeah. And that would be one of the wildest places I would think. Yeah,
come along.
Please, come along.
My wife's Australian. Just before we get into your story, but I'm going to say, did you do a shoey in Australia?
Yes, I did. I did it on stage at the end of we played the CMC Rocks. Crowd was rocking and everything. And did the shoey before I walked off stage. So
wow. So for people
got a
who
good
don't
reaction.
know, a shoey is when you drink a beer from a boot or a shoe.
Yep.
Whose boot was it?
I took my boot off.
Okay, so that's fine.
Poured it in there. Bottoms up.
It's your own germs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm not getting anything new that way, I don't think.
So let's get into it. You were from Sunnyside.
Yep.
In Washington.
Sunnyside, Washington. It sounds like a very idyllic town name. I don't think it's anything special, really. I mean, it's home. It's a little old dairy farm town. You smell it before you ever see it. Smells like cow manure. I don't know. I have nothing but fond memories of childhood. There is awesome.
Look, I mean, I saw the picture online, the sort of Wikipedia picture. It looks.
Oh, is there a Wikipedia picture of Sunnyside? I've never looked it up.
Yeah, you're also on the notable people from Sunnyside.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
There's quite a few people. NFL play people there. It's a small place though. 15,000 people.
Yeah. And it was smaller then when I grew up. It's grown a little bit since then, but still quite small.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun.
We have an astronaut from there, Bonnie Dunbar.
Wow.
That's probably the coolest thing that Sunnyside ever produced, but yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But to us, I'm quite interested. Can you paint a picture of your upbringing, because you were kind of on a farm, but kind of not. But you were.
Yeah. We didn't farm for a living. It wasn't like we were growing crops and eating them. Yeah, we had a bunch of chickens, a bunch of goats, usually several head of cattle, a few horses hanging around. So we had the house and then a little barn down in the back pasture, and we had 40 acres to run around on as kids. So, it was a bunch of, I imagine that kind of plot of land is not as common over here.
No,
probably.
40 acres is huge.
Right, yeah.
You'd be like a lord.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't feel like that, but I enjoyed it, that's for sure.
I've read that you try to almost downplay that a bit, like you just have done, because you don't want to sort of say I was a cowboy, because you weren't, but you're quite respectful to that, aren't you? The fact that it was,
Yeah, I was around enough real cowboys, because my dad, so he runs a livestock auction.
Okay.
That was his main business, and he was partners in a ranch, so we got to be around it as kids. Grew up riding plenty of horses, and we get to go do the gathers and brand the cattle, and so kind of play cowboy a little bit. Yeah. But I've been around enough real ones, and I've always I don't know, I just always think that's not what I'm making my living doing. I like doing it for a hobby, but I'm a singer, I'm not a cowboy. So I do try to show some difference. I know enough real ones to know I'm not a real one.
Do you know what? That is one of the coolest things anyone said on this, because I think there are a lot of people who play country. But you were one of four. Is that one of 4 siblings? Yep. And you were homeschooled.
Yeah.
Were you all homeschooled?
Yeah, all of us from kindergarten up through 15.
So you were at home the whole time, all 4 of you. And what's the age difference between you guys?
My brother's a year and a half younger than me, and then a sister that's a year and a half older, and then my oldest sister, 7 years. I hope I didn't mess that up.
And who's teaching you? Who was
my mother.
Oh my gosh, she's a saint.
Yeah. Literally. Oh yeah, big time. Big time. She had her hands full for sure. Yeah, it's funny. I think it started to probably so my oldest sister being a little bit older, she honestly helped. She's a friggin' genius. She went to MIT, big school over there in Boston. You got to be something to go there, and she went there on a full ride. She double majored in math and chemistry, and then she ended up teaching as the rest of us 3 kids that were a little younger started getting toward later grade, like math and science stuff. She ended up teaching us. My mom never went to college or nothing, graduated high school, and then went to work. But so I don't know. She made do, and we all did pretty good.
So you all sat in a room, and you're all learning different things at the same time?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Maddie, my sister's a year and a half older, she and I basically did the same grade all the way up. I think my mom was just like, you're going to do the same thing, because I can't do 4 separate things. She already had 3. My little brother was, a grade behind us, basically, and then Lakin obviously a few years ahead. But, it's pretty wild to to think about that was an undertaking for her to, on her own, teach all 4 of us. Crazy.
Your social circle though, like, did you have friends? Like, how did you meet people?
We played sports growing up. Like, played baseball ever since I was 4 years old or something, and church was a big social circle for us as well. And then obviously the music stuff, we would spend all summer, basically starting when I was 7 or something. We'd be every weekend in the summer, we'd be going to a different bluegrass festival. So had, a whole group of friends that came from there too. But yeah, a bunch of, I think my parents did a good job of that, because obviously there's, big stereotype of the homeschool people that don't get socialized and they're weird and awkward. Yeah. People are generally pretty surprised when they find out I was homeschooled, especially for that long. It was cool. I liked being brought up that way, especially for starting to play guitar when I was 5. I had a lot more time to do that, because my mom just kind of let us know what we needed to do during the day, and then we could get it done at whatever time we wanted to get it done. So we would most times be up way early in the morning and try to get it knocked out, and then as long as we turned in our stuff and it was done and made the grades good enough, then we got to go play the rest of the day, play guitar, play out. Was it so 5-year-old when you were 5 you got your guitar, but 3 I got a guitar when I was 3, and then 5 started taking lessons.
Wow. So like you're 3, and I've got a 3-year-old daughter, so I know how big a 3-year-old is. That, that big. Or something.
Yeah.
So what guitar did you have? Some
tiny little. Yeah, it'd be like a parlor size. It's from Walmart, cheap little thing. I just wanted to. I love George Strait. That was the first thing that kind of struck my fancy, I guess.
Because it was Amarillo by Morning was the song that got you into.
Yep.
So you're like,
that was the first song I asked to learn how to play.
When you were
the first lesson I ever took.
5 years old, you do a George Strait.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Him and then Marty Robbins. And I think a lot of that was because, back to the cowboy thing, I got to be around that enough. It was just, I had this romantic idea. A lot of little boys growing up in the States, cowboys. You want to be a cowboy or a professional baseball player or something. It's like, that's the cool thing to be out of movies and stuff like that. So I was fascinated by that, and so then fascinated by cowboy type songs. So George Strait had a bunch of those. Marty Robbins was another one. Had a bunch of cowboy music, so loved his stuff as a little kid too.
But that age though, to be saying I want to learn Amarillo by Morning.
Yeah,
that's just
it's odd.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's funny. I don't remember why in it, especially that song. It's it's talking about losing a wife and a girlfriend and this broke rodeo cowboy, and it's like something lyrically that I cannot relate to even in the slightest. But something about that song made me feel something, and I loved it, and just needed to learn it, be able to sing it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I play the piano. I play the guitar as well, but the piano has been my thing since I was 6, 7.
Yeah.
And my wife says to me, when I play the piano, it is like breathing. I just don't have to think about it. When you still post loads of covers on Instagram and stuff. And for me, when you play the guitar, it looks like it's a part of you. Do you think it's because does it feel like that?
Yeah, for sure. It's been so, it's funny. I started playing Telecaster electric in the last, 5 years, I guess, 4 or 5 years. Once I moved over from the bluegrass thing to doing full-time country, kind of had to learn early on, couldn't afford to pay too much of a band, so I had to play the electric parts because that's so big in country stuff. So that was kind of an adjustment. You'd think it's the same thing, but you play it way different.
I can't do
obviously. It's strange. It took a lot of work to kind of readjust my touch and attack on it a lot. But yeah, the acoustic for sure, it feels like it's just, you don't have to look at it, don't have to think about it, just let it be there and focus on the singing kind of.
I mean, you just sat in the end of your bed just playing all day around the farm.
Yeah.
Just that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from the age of like 5 to 15, I probably spent 2 hours a day at least playing. I just loved it. That's all I wanted to do.
Wow. So you got your 10,000 hours in by the time
you were early.
Like 7 or something.
For sure, yeah.
And you play Martins as well, which I play. Which I just, I love Martins.
They're awesome. You got old ones? Or?
Oh, don't. I had an old one.
You really?
I had one.
Yeah.
It was a 52.
Oh, no kidding.
It's really nerdy for the podcast. I want to say
I love it.
1952 D28. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I had to sell it for the same. Because you know what? Every time I got it out, I just go like that. And I'd be like, oh, it's like £100 or
that's
$200 just gone.
Oh yeah, that's how I love old guitars. I don't have any yet.
Yeah.
do you know about the Martin Authentics that they've been making lately? It's they basically
so they X-ray them and then
it's the same bracing pattern as the 30s Martins and went back to hide glue and like all this stuff. They're basically just recreating the 30s Martins, the golden era of Martins, and they artificially age the tops, which makes them look cool and old, but also opens them up and helps the sound too as a new guitar. But those are like perfect. It's still a fairly expensive instrument, but it doesn't have this like sentimental value of being a vintage thing. So I'm not scared to take it on the road, and it might get beat up a little bit, but those things are great. You ought to check them out if you're in the market.
Okay. I'm definitely in the market, but don't tell my wife. So you mentioned about your family band.
Yeah.
It came from a Patsy Cline musical, is that right?
Well, that was the first show we ever played.
Oh, okay.
Was yes.
This is top string.
Top string. That's right. Yeah. We didn't have any intention of being a band. All of us siblings were all kind of. I think I was the first one, and then my Maddie, the next oldest sister, started playing fiddle about the same time, and then a little bit after that, my oldest sister and little brother, Lakin and Joram, started playing. She played bass, a little bit of mandolin too, and then little brother played mandolin. But when my oldest sister was a great pianist, that was kind of her thing. So when we were all too little to play anything, she was already doing piano stuff, and she was like classically trained. Then she jumped on board with the hillbilly music with us, but we didn't have any. We never set out to be a band. We were all just kind of learn an instrument, sort of. Yeah, then a family friend was involved in a Rotary Club that was putting on that little Patsy Cline musical play at the local high school, and they were looking for an opening act. So he called my dad and was like, "Hey, John, I heard your kids play some music. They want to open this show." And he's like, "Well, I don't know. You're going to have to ask them." So I don't remember this, but I've been told the story enough times. I guess my dad put me on the phone, and Randy was the guy's name. He said, "Well, Zach, we'd like to have you open the show." And I said, "Well, thanks, Mr. Randy. We'd love to. When is it?" And he said, "Well, it's in 3 months." And I said, "Perfect. By then we'll know some songs." That was our first show when I was 7, I guess.
Wow. Can you still remember? Can you still see the show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was it like?
I remember just like being super excited, sitting in side stage in the wings, like looking out at all the people there. It felt like it was massive. I'm sure there was 200 people probably.
For 7.
I mean, for sure. Yeah, it felt crazy. I loved it. It's a funny. I haven't thought about that much, but I do have a very distinct memory of what it felt like looking out for the first time, and like how I really liked that, being on stage and giving people some enjoyment, something that they liked. Pretty interesting. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Do you still feel like that now? Because you seem to have this spark in your eyes. Some artists don't. Some artists have been doing it for like a few years, and they're like, even a few years.
Yeah, I love it. It's hard to say. I mean, maybe once I've done it for 30 years, it might start wearing on me, but I kind of don't think so. You look at guys like, I don't know, Merle Haggard, basically played up until he physically could not anymore. I kind of imagine I'd like to do the same thing. I love writing the music and making the records, being in the studio, stuff like that. But being on stage and playing with a great band and seeing people light up and hear them scream and go crazy that's a mighty good drug.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, when you look at like older musicians, like you see their faces and their bodies might be a bit frail, but their face has always got this life in it because they've had everything you just described.
Yeah,
it's like you go on stage and you just see a sea of people just really happy, and it's impossible. It's like you say, it's the best drug.
Yeah,
there's nothing like it. It's why
hard to beat.
Yeah, it's why so many people drink after they come off stage. You want to keep that buzz.
Yeah,
going,
100%.
It's a crazy
100%.
thing. Do you think those early kind of bluegrass years that was you just learning your craft, like in terms of actually just playing? Because it's not. But bluegrass is obviously quite fast, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it, yes.
And you had to be technically really good, but also on stage, I'm sure the things went wrong at times. You got to adjust. Do you still sort of think that was your kind of schooling in a way musically?
Yeah, big time. Absolutely. It's interesting. When I started out, I had way more interest in just playing than singing. I loved these different songs, so I would sing because, they were singing songs. but I put way more effort into being a player. You know, Tony Rice, then he's huge. He's kind of like the godfather of bluegrass guitar in a lot of ways. There's guys before him for sure, but he kind of was the first one to really make flat picking, lead playing in bluegrass a big thing. Yeah. And so that was my idol growing up. I copied everything he ever played or tried to just emulate Tony Rice as much as I could. And that was the big thing until it was probably, I don't know, I was probably 10 or 12 or something before I discovered Keith Whitley. Yeah. And then that was probably the biggest influence on my singing. And that's when I started to, pay attention more to my singing as well. But it was first playing for me that really got me excited. And that's absolutely it. It's bluegrass is a interesting, super tech, for being sort of hillbilly music. It is really technical, and you got to have some chops. There's nothing to cover you up, I think, is the most interesting thing. All acoustic. There's no drums, to sort of drown out a little flub note here or there. Electricity to hold out some sustain. You got to hit the right note, and you got to, hit it at the right time, or it kind of sticks out like sore thumb. Yeah. So, I think it's a good kind of trial by fire sort of music to come up in. I think it was. And the other thing that was great about it too is it's so family friendly that, it offered me an opportunity to get on stage a lot earlier than, and with more frequency than, you can't go play sets in bars as a 7-year-old too much. They frown upon that some places. So, it was, I think, beyond just the playing and the singing and getting proficient at the music, it was the opportunity to be behind the microphone and learn how to entertain people and to keep them engaged, for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever your set is. So I think that was a nice little head start that I got too early on.
Do you know what, in my head, I'm envisaging the movie, the biopic. I'm trying to work out how to get to play your little 7-year-old Zack Top, but I can just see it. So I love hearing about all that, but I'm really fascinated by Boulder. Yeah. When you went to what do you call it, university or college?
Yeah, University of Colorado.
Yeah. Because they're very intense musical. Yeah. It sounds like you were quite, I don't want to say sheltered, but it was quite it sounds like everything was kind of there a lot.
Yeah, small town. Yeah.
So then suddenly you're out in the big world. Yep. Away from your family. Yeah. Quite a few thousand miles, I imagine, as well. Yeah. What happened? Did you have just loads of... Were you playing still? Because there's not many songs from that period, though, in your...
No. We played... I think I was 17 when we played our last show as the family band, and then that kind of disbanded. But then a bunch of other guys that I'd grown up playing with from the Seattle area asked me to be in their band. I actually played mandolin in that band.
Oh, cool.
Sang most of the lead and played mando. So I was doing that during the whole, just flying back and forth whenever they had gigs. Oh, wow. I'd go play with them. But I did that. And then I also got in with there's a big, probably the biggest bluegrass festivals, IBMA, International Bluegrass Music Awards. And it was in Raleigh, North Carolina at the time when I went there first. But became buddies with this little group of, I was probably the best bluegrass band I was in. Well, the first record that I have out under my name was recorded with that band, that bluegrass record. So I was doing all that between the years of 2015 and 2020, I guess.
Oh, wow. So you're doing your college degree, but at the time, it sounds like you're just doing music as well.
Yeah, I went for a year there and then just got sick of it and dropped out and started working construction. Did that for several years. But yeah, in between, lots of just work all week and then fly out on the week and go play a gig. But yeah,
so your answer is so much more wholesome. I thought you were just having fun, getting drunk, and just partying.
I did plenty of that too. But no, I was still keen on the music thing for sure. The only reason I went to Colorado really was because my sister wanted to go there really bad, and I don't know, my parents I was dating somebody they didn't want me to be dating, and so they kind of just shooed me out, said you need to get the heck out of Dodge. And so I did. My sister was going. We're really close, still are, but have been for a long time. After we got done hating each other, when you're 13, 14 or something, we became really close. And so I was like, heck, I'll go where she's going, and got into school. Wow. And so,
okay. But Colorado is where, if I'm not wrong, the story of you as a solo artist really starts, because that's where you start posting Facebook covers.
Yep, exactly.
And so that must have been so was it immediate? Like you post one and suddenly this reaction was just no. Okay.
No. I'd done it for probably a year or something, and it was like it wasn't nothing happening. You know, I'd get 8,000-10,000 views on a thing, and I thought that was really, you know, crazy. I'd never played to a crowd that big, that's for sure. And so, you know, it felt like big numbers. What was it? February of 2018, I posted that Daryl Singletary. I don't know if you remember him, but one of the best country singers I think since Haggard or Jones, and he had a couple hits in the late 90s, but yeah, it didn't last too long, but just phenomenal singer, and he passed away, February 2018 I think is right, and the day he died, I was a huge fan, so I posted a cover of his song, just, you know, as a little tribute or whatever, and that was the first thing that blew up. It got like 300,000 views or something on Facebook pretty quickly, and I had a bunch of people calling from Nashville, you know, mostly not the type of thing where it's like, if you can come up with $20,000, we'll cut you a record and make you a star. And I didn't know how it worked, but I was pretty sure that wasn't how it worked. So anyway, but yeah, in that time, my producer now co-writes all the songs and produces the records for me.
Carson Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's him. Yep. He found me in that time off that video too. He still is scouring, just looking for anything exciting new that he really likes, and I happened to be something he liked, and so he sent an email, and I didn't pay any attention to it. I kind of, because I'd taken a few calls and responded to a few emails, and was just like, none of this is for real. You know, they're from Nashville, but this isn't real stuff. So I was kind of burnt out of it just in a couple weeks after that video blew up. And anyway, he sent an email in that time, and then I didn't pay no attention to it. The gal I was dating at the time called me when I was out playing a gig, and she was like, "Hey, you remember this Carson Chamberlain guy?" I know. Who's that? And she's like, "Well, he sent you an email. I'm going to send you a Wikipedia link, and you want to get back to him." So yeah, you know, saw his whole resume or rap sheet or whatever you want to call it, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, this is for real." And you know, the way he approached it too felt more for real. He wasn't asking for money right out the gate, and that finally made it seem like maybe I could do it for a living. I'd always, up until then, kind of assumed I'd probably just, you know, I knew I wanted to play and sing the rest of my life, but didn't know, was so far from Nashville and just had no idea even how to start trying to get there or make a living doing it. It's just like, oh, I'll work construction, be a general contractor, and play for fun on the weekends with my buddies or something. And
look at you now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
So that was the first little time that I felt like, okay, if this guy thinks I got something, maybe I got a chance.
And so this is when you start going back and forth from Nashville quite a bit from Colorado.
Yep.
And it's one thing I've read about Carson's advice was, so you didn't do the typical thing that everyone seems to do, which is play Broadway and do loads. Because he sort of said, get to a point where Nashville needs you more than you needing Nashville most. Is that what he kind of said? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, get it to where Nashville wants you more than you need them. Okay. And then you got some leverage and you can do it the way you want to do it. That's kind of Reader's Digest version of, some of the biggest advice he gave me. But yeah, it was funny. When I moved out there, I moved here to play music. I'm assuming I'm just going to go get gigs and play every night and stuff. And nah, you keep work construction out here, and we'll write. You know, we were writing 3 days a week or something, and then I was just working every day outside of that. And that kind of frustrated me for a little while. Just if I'm right here, I'm in Music City. I can. I could have got gigs for sure, but I think it was solid gold advice. I think it created a little bit of a mystique about me, that like I was around and I'd pop up every now and then, but people couldn't just go see me any night of the week somewhere. You know, I think you can kind of lose the excitement and the mystique just being too available. Yeah.
And I've got a question now about because what I love about that start of that story is you posted a video that was just so authentic, and you're obviously a massive muso and you're a fan of music. Mm-hmm. But was there ever a point when there was this sort of idea of trying what everyone else is doing in Nashville, or was it Carson like, no, you have your thing? Because obviously you're quite different. Your throwback sound, sort of quite 90s country sound, and there must have been a temptation to be like, well, maybe we should be a bit more like X or country radio is right now, which is obviously not the thing. You need to be yourself. But was there ever some time when you were like thinking of trying something different?
Not musically.
That's
always that's always been pretty non-negotiable for me. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I couldn't do something different if I tried. It's, you know, and it's funny. I get the like throwback thing a lot, which I understand is obviously sonically reminiscent more of the older country stuff. But for me, it's like this is as current as it could possibly be. You know, it's like this is what you get when I open my mouth or play my guitar. You know, just write and play and sing. This is what comes out of me. It's not a contrived thing. You know, it wasn't like a calculated move to do the throwback thing or something.
Exactly. And I want to say I believe every word you say. And because there are some people who you just know are doing what they think they should be doing.
Yeah.
What will
playing
work.
the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, making a move that they think will work.
And that must have been frustrating for you at the start because you know, like you say, you're only writing 3 days, but you're probably doing it all the time.
Oh yeah,
that desire.
Yeah.
But
big time. I think that like musically, I never wavered on that. Never thought I should be doing something different. But definitely like the way that other people were approaching the business. You know, out there playing all the time and playing writers shows and doing gigs on Broadway and stuff like that. Is like I definitely felt like. It felt like people that I'd like moved to town at the same time, and I could see them kind of like getting steps ahead of me, and that made me kind of like, what am I doing here swinging a hammer? This is a waste of time. I need to be out there playing. But once again, it's hindsight's 20/20, and you know, Carson's seen this show a few times at this point, so he knew what he was talking about, and it's very clear to me now that he did.
I'm so glad it is. Your new album, Ain't In It For My Health.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Thank you very much.
It's one of the biggest songs. South of Sanity verse is just, I think it's a masterpiece.
Thanks.
I absolutely love that song.
Appreciate that.
Can I ask you about Loving the Wrong Things?
Yeah, come on.
Where would you say, I mean, lyrically that song was about you, I presume you're out on the road, you're enjoying yourself.
Oh yeah.
We say.
Oh yeah.
It's a very real song.
Yeah.
I mean, can you just tell me the story very quickly of what that song is and what it means to you, and how hard is it to sing, like when you're on stage? Because also the way I read the lyrics, sorry to ask my own question, but it's kind of like the wrong things have got you to this not good place. They've done well for you, but I don't know. It's a really interesting lyric. I find it.
Yeah, I think it was. You know, it's funny, all the tropes of becoming a singing star or whatever it is, rock and roll, country, whatever. There's all the things that come with a little bit of fame. You get a little bit of money, and then you got access to substances or liquor or women or whatever your people are interested in you all of a sudden, and you can run wild with that, and I did for a little bit, and it's funny, everyone tells you, everybody knows that's what happens, and I kind of was just oblivious. I guess I didn't ever see myself really getting to be famous at all. I knew I wanted to like make great music that people loved, and I just didn't. I don't know. It's like I didn't prepare myself for all the stuff that everybody says is coming, and sure enough, it came, and made a little mess for a little while. Yeah,
because in this time you got divorced as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But be owning in that. Even just you saying that. Some people be like, oh, it's not. I lost my way a bit. Not much, but you had fun doing it.
Yeah. Well, I thought I had fun. It wasn't. It ended up not being the greatest headspace for me. That's for sure. Wasn't a great time. But George Jones said one time, people will forgive you for your mistakes. They won't forgive you for lying. So
wow.
I've never, as country music fans specifically, he was talking about, I think music fans in general, it's just like, it's I was not prepared for the spot I ended up in. And so, made a little mess of things, and I won't, not trying to hide any of that. It's be honest with them, and they'll forgive you for your mistakes.
You're so young to have that revelation already.
Yeah.
But you're 28.
28. Yes, sir.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm glad you picked out that song, because that's one of the ones that stands out to me on the record. I think the Ain't In It For My Health record is more like, I have more of a voice on that. I feel like the first record, I love it. Bunch of great songs, but like, I almost got to, write more personal songs a little bit on the second one. Did a little bit of living, grew up a little bit, and so had more to say, sort of. And that's one of the ones that stands out to me. That's like, that's a real song. That's my life.
It's the thing. I know I said the word throwback earlier, but the lyrics are the thing that it's you. I can tell. When those, all the lyrics in the album they're so real. Well, there's so much I want to talk about. I can't. We have to go. But the Grammys. You're a Grammy Award winner. Oh my gosh. I mean, and I saw the photo of you with who are you with? All those. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. We had a whole
Lainey
lineup
Wilson,
of
Lucas Nelson, Jelly Roll.
Yes.
All together.
Yeah.
I mean, so you win the Grammy.
Yeah.
Was that photo before or after?
No, that was after. So, like, most of the country awards they give out on the pre-telecast thing when they do all the, not massive, pop music awards. So, yeah, that was after at the regular, televised programming and stuff. But I couldn't believe how many hillbillies they let sit up front there, right in front of the cameras. It's kind of crazy for, the amount of pop stars that was there and stuff. It was kind of wild. I don't know why they wanted us on camera so much, but it was kind of fun. It was cool being, we were right there up, second row back from the stage. It was so cool. I had a ton of fun. That was a wild experience. I still don't think it's actually hit me yet that I want it. The one thing I keep coming back to is that, like, no matter what happens, I guess the rest of my life I get to get introduced as Grammy Award winner when I go on. Yeah, that's hard to beat, man. It's really, really cool feeling. I think most people in music would say that's probably the pinnacle award you can get. There's a lot of different award associations and stuff that all feel really, really cool to win anything like that. But that one is pretty wild.
Amazing. And Zach, just lastly, where is the award? Where are you keeping it?
I haven't got it yet because they engrave it and then send it out to you. So they give you one for all the pictures and to do your speech and stuff, but it doesn't have your name on it yet or anything.
So you've got a spot ready though in the house.
Yeah, I need to start like actually making a little bit of I've got enough stuff stacking up now. I've just kind of like set it in a corner and I want to. I don't know. That one made me feel like it's like, man, I never would have dreamed that I'd be getting an award like that. So I got to make some sort of little special celebration of it. We'll figure out a good spot. Thank you.
Zach, thank you so much for kicking off season 2.
Thank you so much. Honestly, really enjoyed it.
Chat for hours, but you have to
go. Well, we'll do it again sometime. I'd love to, whenever we come back through, love to do it again, man.
Definitely.
Really enjoyable.
Thanks so much, Zach. Thank you so much. Amazing.